Louisiana is a state in the deep south and south-central regions of the United States. It is the 19th smallest by area and the 25th most populous of the 50 U.S. states. Louisiana is bordered by the state of Texas to the west, Arkansas to the north, Mississippi to the east, and the Gulf of Mexico to the south. A large part of its eastern boundary is demarcated by the Mississippi River. Louisiana is the only U.S. state with political subdivisions termed parishes, which are equivalent to counties. The state's capital is Baton Rouge, and its largest city is New Orleans. Much of the state's lands were formed from sediment washed down the Mississippi River, leaving enormous deltas and vast areas of coastal marsh and swamp. These contain a rich southern biota. Typical examples include birds such as ibises and egrets. There are also many species of tree frogs, and fish such as sturgeon and paddlefish. In more elevated areas, fire is a natural process in the landscape and has produced extensive areas of longleaf pine forest and wet savannas. These support an exceptionally large number of plant species, including many species of terrestrial orchids and carnivorous plants. Louisiana has more Native American tribes than any other southern state, including 4 that are federally recognized, 10 that are state recognized, and 4 that have not received recognition. Some Louisiana urban environments have a multicultural, multilingual heritage, being so strongly influenced by a mixture of 18th-century French, Haitian, Spanish, French Canadian, Native American, and African cultures that they are considered to be exceptional in the U.S. before the American purchase of the territory in 1803. The present-day state of Louisiana had been both a French colony and for a brief period a Spanish one. In addition, colonists imported numerous African people as slaves in the 18th century. Many came from peoples of the same region of West Africa, thus concentrating their culture. In the post-Civil War environment, Anglo-Americans increased the pressure for Anglicization, and in 1921, English was for a time made the sole language of instruction in Louisiana schools before a policy of multilingualism was revived in 1974. There has never been an official language in Louisiana, and the state constitution enumerates the right of the people to preserve, foster, and promote their respective historic, linguistic, and cultural origins. Based on national averages, Louisiana frequently ranks low among the U.S. in terms of health, education, and development, and high in measures of poverty. In 2018, Louisiana was ranked as the least healthy state in the country, with high levels of drug-related deaths and excessive alcohol consumption, while it has had the highest homicide rate in the United States since at least the 1990s. Louisiana was named after Louis XIV, King of France from 1643 to 1715, when René Robert Cavelier, Sieur de La Salle claimed the territory drained by the Mississippi River for France. He named it La Louisiane. The suffix "ana" is a Latin suffix that can refer to information relating to a particular individual, subject, or place. Thus, roughly, Louis plus "ana" carries the idea of related to Louis. Once part of the French colonial empire, the Louisiana Territory stretched from present-day Mobile Bay to just north of the present-day Canada-United States border, including a small part of what is now the Canadian provinces of Alberta and Saskatchewan. Louisiana was inhabited by Native Americans for many millennia before the arrival of Europeans in the 16th century. During the Middle Archaic period, Louisiana was the site of the earliest mound complex in North America and one of the earliest dated complex constructions in the Americas. The Watson Break site near present-day Monroe, an 11-mound complex. It was built about 5400 BP. Nearly 2,000 years later, Poverty Point was built. It is the largest and best-known late Archaic site in the state. The city of modern-day Epes developed near it. The Poverty Point culture may have reached its peak around 1500 BC, making it the first complex culture, and possibly the first tribal culture in North America. It lasted until approximately 700 BC. The Poverty Point culture was followed by the Chufengte and Lake Cormorant cultures of the Chula Period. Local manifestations of early Woodland period. The Chafenkte culture were the first people in the area of Louisiana to make large amounts of pottery. These cultures lasted until AD 200. The Middle Woodland period started in Louisiana with the Marksville culture in the southern and eastern part of the state, reaching across the Mississippi River to the east around Natchez, and the Forche Malin culture in the northwestern part of the state. The Marksville culture was named after the Marksville prehistoric Indian site in Avoyelles Parish. These cultures were contemporaneous with the Hopewell cultures of present-day Ohio and Illinois, and participate